So it's the morning of day 3 of the trip. I spent much of yesterday in the special collection, taking a break at lunch just to go get a hamburger at the cafe. Got quite a bit of work done yesterday, although it's still, laying the groundwork for the database that I am going to be putting together. I had some time to do a bit of reading in the dissertations to look at some of the interesting parts that actually fit in with my own projects. And I finished putting together the spreadsheet that everything is going to have to go into. A lot of work ahead, and I've got to get out of here pretty soon. They're putting in new windows in this dorm, so the maintenance guy just came in a minute ago. Having my breakfast, then I got a shower, change, stow my gear, and start heading on up. So today I'm having lunch with Kevin McMahon. So we'll talk about some institute related things, I'm sure, at lunch. And I've got I'm starting to get the interviews lined up. I've got Monty locked in. On Monday, sent emails to Father John Fortin and to Kevin Staley. I'm going to talk to Kevin about doing an interview, although he's a little bit reluctant at this point, since he, sees himself as just sort of taking over what other people have been doing, even though he's actually doing important work with the Metaphysics Colloquium. There's a lot of, genuine humility among these Anselm people. Not surprising, since that's very important for Anselm and for the Benedictines in general. So my typical breakfast here is stuff that can be made easily and doesn't take an awful lot of cleanup. I went to Hannaford the other day and bought a bunch of muffins. That's going to hold me over until lunchtime, hopefully. I've got my pineapple juice, my coffee. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading. And then, like I said, shower, change, get out up to the Institute. I've got plenty of work to do up there. Got to decide what books I'm taking with me. I did a little bit of filming yesterday as well, but filming for eventually creating a series of Anselm videos, much like the half-hour Hegel videos, on the Proslogium. Took a long time to read it. It turned out to be about an hour's worth of footage. You'd be surprised how many takes I have to do, because I end up tripping over what I'm saying as I'm going through it. And then of course your mouth gets dry and you start to cough or things like that. But that's done, so that's going to enable me to create some more videos once I get back to my home base in Kingston, New York. So now I'm going to have my breakfast, do a bit of Anselm related reading, and get on with the day. It's mid-morning, getting close to lunchtime on day 3, and I have been going through these dissertations. I've managed to discover that one database, ProQuest Dissertation Abstracts, should have abstracts and perhaps subject headings for most of them from 1980 on, but that only covers a limited amount. And when we went into the WorldCat, which is a major database that think of it as sort of sucking information out of all its member libraries, went into WorldCat, there's really no information for most of these. So what I'm going to have to do is determine which of these dissertations I want to spend the time on to try to do both writing an abstract and keywords. I'm going to have to give priority, I think, to those that actually have to do with Anselm and not just with medieval thought or medieval culture in general. But even that is quite a few. There are probably in the database something like, well, if we go up to about 1984, there are at least 25 to 30 dissertations that date from that period. And I'm not sure that they'll actually have abstracts in ProQuest
for the ones from 1980 when they first started getting the information to 1984 when I'm guessing they probably started making sure that they were actually collecting that information. But I've got a clear idea now about the work ahead. I have the remainder of today, although I've got to spend some of that time on my own research projects and on some filming. I've got, turns out, a bit of Saturday where I can work in here because I can't take these dissertations out, so I have to do all the work while I'm actually in this room. And then I've got Monday and Tuesday, 2 full days, although I will be doing some filming and doing some of the interviews during that time. And then Wednesday I've got the morning, but starting in the afternoon it's the metaphysics colloquium, and so I'm going to be tied up with that. So really I would say there's about 3 solid days of work that I've got the chance to do with these. And then I've got to put into my report as I'm building it for the archivist, all this information that I'm coming across or generating. So that's what's going on day 3. I've also spent a bit of time going through the library materials that you can see up there, getting myself some books on Anselm off of these shelves that I fit in with my particular research projects that I'm working on right now on Anselm and prayer, on the Cur Deus Homo, and I also went and grabbed a bunch of Gabriel Marcel works because I'm also trying to work on this article on Marcel and the Christian philosophy debates. So a lot of stuff to do. Don't have that much time to take apart for the filming, but I thought I should sort of check in and talk about where things are so far. It's the afternoon of day 3, and I am now about to do some reading Hegel, which sounds a little strange for an Anselm-related research trip, but actually what I'm going to do is go through self-consciousness, the truth of self-certainty, and the lordship and bondage section, in part because I like the backdrop, and for the half-hour Hegel videos that I do, it's nice to have a sort of continuity rather than just my bookshelves behind me. So that's what I'm going to do. I just had a great lunch with Kevin McMahon. Lasted a little bit more than I thought it was going to, which is cutting a little bit into the work and research time. But it's always great to spend some time talking with colleagues, with peers about things that I'm interested in and things that he's interested in as well. He's a guy who does work in systematic theology and moral theology. And we talked about our dissertations way back when, the state of moral theology, natural law, all sorts of really interesting topics. I got to pick his brain a little bit for discussion, a little bit of tree schmutz there. Well, I got to pick his brain a little bit for discussion about the relationship between mercy and justice in thinkers prior to Anselm. So that was useful for me as well. And I'm going to be interviewing him later on in this trip, probably on Monday, in this same area. Probably not in front of these books, but... So that's what's been going on. I also managed this morning to get a lot of groundwork done as far as finding out where I might be able to get abstracts for quite a few of these dissertations. Went through some of them to find whether they had an abstract in them. Did some more work with the spreadsheet, figured out how I can code it so that Keith Chevalier, the librarian, will be able the archivist will be able to see exactly what I want conveyed in a very easy form. So that's what the morning was spent on. Now I've got about 2.5 hours left to go, so we'll see how quickly I can get through the Hegel, and then after I do that, I'm probably going to do some reading of these dissertations prior to writing abstracts for them. So it's about 8:30 at night now, and I am still at work, or rather back at work. I took a break a little bit after I got back here, around 5 o'clock. I checked email and took care of that sort of stuff, had something to eat, went out to the store, got some more food and supplies, including some Guinness, because it's a Friday night and I'm still working, so I'm going to enjoy myself a little bit. And took a nap somewhere in there for maybe half an hour or so, because I was feeling kind of run down, not sleeping as well as I'd like. That's a factor of getting old. Used to be when I was young, I could sleep anywhere, even on top of an armored personnel carrier when I was in the Army. But as you get old, your body tends to crave, some of the same stuff that you're used to. So whenever I'm not sleeping in my own bed, it's a little bit tougher. And I would sleep in the morning, but I need to get to the library at a decent time to take advantage of their hours. So I'm looking forward to sleeping in a little bit tomorrow, although I need to get to the library by 10 because they're opening for Alumni Day. So in any case, productive day. I got a lot of stuff done. I got some Hegel recorded that I talked about in one of the previous clips. So that's good. I can use that footage for first part of self-consciousness when I get to that. Still, I have to get through force and the understanding before I get to the master-slave dialectic. And I did actually find that I could not necessarily download, but at least find pointers towards a lot of the abstracts within the dissertations of quite a few of the newer dissertations and even a few of the older dissertations. So that is work that I think can be farmed out productively to the Geisel library staff rather than me concentrating on it. So now, with my spreadsheet, I've got it set so I can see exactly what I'm looking at. And there's some dissertations that are not Anselm related. I'm not going to bother with those. I wouldn't be as qualified to do stuff with them anyway, and frankly, they don't get priority. And then there are quite a few where there's already an abstract. I don't have to mess around with that. It's just not an abstract in the library entry for the piece. And then there is a good, 15 or so that I think I might be able to get to over the next, 3 days and produce some abstracts for. So that will be of considerable help. That will take me up through the early 80s, I think, maybe even the mid 80s. That means that people that come to the archive then to do research will be able to access that abstract and know whether they want to get that work off the shelf or not. They won't be like me, who goes in and just takes all the works off of the shelf and then goes through them one at a time. It can save people time. So, that's a really important factor. So tonight I get to work on some of my own projects, and what I'm going to be doing is polishing up a paper that I wrote some time ago and presented about mercy and justice in the Cur Deus Homo. And I need to insert some more footnotes, add a few more entries, rewrite a few sections to make it sound a little bit better as it reads. And maybe some of that work will get done tomorrow as well. But I'm looking forward to actually now blocking out a good probably 3 hours before I knock off, just to take care of this polishing up the long overdue paper. And then tomorrow I can start working directly on the paper on Anselm and prayer and mercy and justice in that. As well as the Marcel piece, the Aquinas piece, and the Epicurean tradition stuff that I need to work on as well. Because I'm going to put in a short day at the library with the dissertations. So that's it for the day. I'll check in some more, probably shoot some in the morning for day 4 and put that together with day 5. Maybe I'll put it together with the whole weekend, so, I'm not clogging up the internet with too many entries. But I wanted you to be able to see what the life of scholarship is. Let me actually, I was going to show you this before. This is what scholarship looks like quite often. You do a lot of reading. So, that's it.